Let's go. What's going down, cultivators? It's Steven here, dropping in with another artist before they make it big. Mind introducing everybody to yourself?
Hi, I am January Katsugi, also known as the Katsugi Brothers.
All right. So, what's the real story behind your birth as an artist?
So, the real story behind my birth as an artist, a little traumatic. I grew up being chronically misunderstood. Like, it's bad. So, I got on Instagram as a reprieve from that, kind of to show people who I am as a person so they can see who I am before they can judge my character before my look. So it's always been that. But also in doing that, I found it is a passion of mine. I like production. I like photography, visual language. I just like all of it. So
I like that. So then what are some of those essential values that you live by now?
Well, my essential value that I live by is authenticity.
I like that.
At least selective authenticity, because, we're still online. I don't need people all up in my business. But I like to be as close to who I am off screen, on camera, as possible.
It's real. That's real. So then how do you separate yourself from other people in a room that full of the same thing that you do?
Well, my fashion, for one. I deliberately, sometimes, especially if it's an event, I style in advance. I sometimes make videos styling things to just kind of put it out there. But other than my fashion, my appearance is basically how I separate myself from anyone in the room.
Have you had anybody where they're just like, wow, like January's really just standing out, being on top
Yes.
of everything?
That's actually how I got my first content creation job, believe it or not.
Tell me about that.
So basically, it was a college orientation, and I went and I had a big afro. It looks like a cloud. I was very proud of it. It was something that I was really into, and I did, base makeup. It was bad, but looking back on it, I was like, this is the best shit I've ever done. So I went and, my former boss came up to me and she was like, oh my God, you look great. I love your energy. If you ever want a job in content creation, here you go. And she gave me her information, and that's what happened.
That's dope. I love that. So then how do you vibe with the local scene?
With the local scene, I don't vibe too much with it, but I am willing to get out there. I have a lot of free time now. It was just school all the time. So now that I'm free, I want to get out there. I want to find myself in the local scene because I really do think I should do that.
I like that. I mean, so has there been anything that you've been trying to get involved with, whether it be vendor markets you've seen, even coming around the community more?
I have. I had a friend. Well, I have a friend. They just moved recently, who brought me to the Right About Now open mic nights. So I wanted to I've been writing more poetry. So I've been working up the courage to perform. And that's kind of what this interview is.
I love that.
I need to work on who I am in front of a camera, in front of a production.
Stay authentic though, right?
Of course.
Got to. So then what are some of those challenges that you face along the way, and how have you kind of turned them around into wins for yourself?
So the biggest challenge I face in doing that is my autism, because I am a very unfiltered person, and people do not vibe with that very well. I've grown up kind of understanding that. So that's why I say selective authenticity a lot, because some of the things I say are very random and very weird, and people are like, what the fuck? I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. And so I have to I really do intensely think about the things that come out of my mouth before I say them. I have to, okay, this is base thought, put that into a box, tape that off, okay, break that box down into the thought that I want to come out. And so, because if I don't, things just come out, and I'm just like, ugh.
So then where are you trying to go with your content creation and just being an artist?
So with my content creation, I have a podcast called The Katsugi Minute, where I talk. It's me and my other two alters. We just have conversations about topics that we find, and that's one of the things that I'm doing. I also want to start making and promoting my films, because I have a Vimeo channel under my name, January Katsugi, which is actually a hidden gem where I post all of my long feature films. I made a film recently called I'm Not Okay and That's Fine. And that's on there. You can just go to my Instagram at the Katsugis Brothers and find that.
Check that out.
So yeah, I need more eyes on my films because that is ultimately where I want to go. I will always love content creation. It is literally my favorite thing to do, but that's where I see myself in terms of a career.
Yeah, I like that. So then where do you really cultivate your team's fire? Like to just get out there, go and do a lot of your stuff?
Drogness. He is the one that finds events. That's how I got my first job. He signed me up for this interview that I was too anxious to even get out of the bed to go to. He said, "You're going. You have no choice." And so that's how I got my job with them, the Social Gators. And I really found myself in that job. And so that kind of recultivated the spark, the fire in me to kind of get out there with my content creation and my films and everything that I'm doing.
I like that, man. So then how have you really found yourself like going about reshaping maybe somebody else's brand through your own?
So, the first time I realized I had an impact of any sort, because I just thought I was in an echo chamber by myself, just posting shit, right? I went to an event that my school hosted. It was a social networking event, first of its kind, actually, created by one of my good friends, the Electric Personality.
So you really are cultivated then.
Yes. I try to be. And this person came up to me, a really good friend of mine now, came up to me and was like, "Hey, January, like, I just want to say you're the reason why, like, I do some of the things that I do." And like, I was like, "Oh, I actually have impact. This is new." And with that, I was like, you know what? I need to start posting more. Because even in my sporadic posting schedule, if I still have the power to impact somebody like that, if I do it full time, that impact will grow into something bigger than me. And that's ultimately what I want.
I love that. And so then what have been some of those like impactful moments in your content that you've had? Like have there been like any big feedback or anything like that?
Yes. Actually, the first episode to my podcast did really well. And so I didn't expect it to do well because I taught myself that I wasn't a person that people would want to listen to. And so when I got on and I did the first episode, it was just like who I am, our origins of our system and everything. And I was like, people's not going to want to listen to this. And then people actually listened and I was like, oh, okay. So that was a big milestone. Another big milestone for me was actually in my content with the Social Gators. So the introduction video that I made for the Social Gators impacted the entire administration of the school. And they were like, "Oh my God, January, I didn't know people could live with that many things." And I was like, "Yeah, I've been doing it." And they were like, "Oh my God." And one person cried. I found out later down the grapevine and I was like, I just made a video. I just did what I usually do. I wasn't going for heartfelt. I was just like, this is who I am, y'all. And it resonated. And I was like, okay.
Yeah, damn. Wow. That's
I know. It's a lot.
No, I mean, but that's real though. Like being able to really impact somebody else from something you're facing actively. You're, making a killing, doing what you got to do, and someone else can see that and they can appreciate that value that you bring. And I think that's really important. So then how have you been able to set trends within your community, whether it be on social media, when you were doing that for the Social Gators? Like, what was that like for you?
So I actually did something with the Social Gators. I know I'm talking about them a lot, but it's time that I hold in high regard because it really shaped who I am as a content creator. It really showed me that I can do content creation as a career. So actually, one of my alters, Jonah Pierce, you can call him JP, he came to me with an idea because we were trying to promote something called Destination Downtown, which is basically my school's open house, kind of like a thing that we do. And so he was like, hey, this ghost trend is popping off. Maybe I could do my own spin on it with the promotion. And so we did. And Trishelle came to me and she was like, I really like that video. like really liked that video. And so I was like, it was all him. He did it. He had the vision. He had the idea. Did the execution. I was just there. I just provided my body. So that's when I was like, okay, so not only am I good at content creation, but other alters of mine are good at content creation, just as good or even better, because JP is so much better than me at it. I'm just a personality. He does the production. He does audio engineering as best he can. And so that's why I was like, okay.
So can you or JP even just share some advice for any fresh faces in this field about it?
Oh, of course. My biggest advice to anyone in the field of content creation, do not lose yourself. I know that is very cheesy, very basic. Do not lose yourself, because there will come that time where you get that sponsorship where it's so good on paper, your rate is being met, everything is happening, but then you do the further research into the company and it turns out that they're not a very good or ethical company. And you're just like, ooh. Yeah. I'm going to have to turn you down. And
being ethical is really, really, really important in this field, especially because so many people now, they're just all about doing things their way instead of the right way. I feel like if you do things the right way, you're going to be rewarded handsomely, even more so than just doing it to do it.
Also, the second piece of advice, it takes a while. Do not expect to go viral like all of these TikTokers you see with that one video overnight. And they're getting brand deals and runway deals. It's not how that works. Those are truly like one in like 10 million opportunities. So I was like, because I was one of those people who was like, I'm gonna make this video and I'm gonna go viral, and it's not how that works.
So then what's the big dream? Where are you going with this?
So the big dream is to get a television show that is truly something I have control over. I have written a few scripts of my own. I like it. It's really fun. Screenwriting. It's one of my favorite things to do. And so if like Quinta Brunson, for example, started at BuzzFeed and is now in charge of one of the best running network television shows ever.
Yeah, she's going crazy.
Yes. And I was like, I looked at the first episode of Abbott Elementary. I didn't even know it was her. I thought she was just starring in the show. And so someone later was like, oh my God, Quinta Brunson, creator of Abbott Elementary. I said, excuse me?
Creator? What?
I said, if she can, I can too. So
I love that. So then where can everyone at home get in touch with you?
So
plug yourself completely.
My Instagram is just my name. All of our Instagrams are our names. January Katsugi. Katsugi. You can also find all three of us on the Katsugi Brothers, the Katsugi Brothers on Instagram. So if you go to that tandem Instagram, all of our Instagram accounts are in that bio. You can just click which one you want and you can follow. So yeah. And also I have a Vimeo channel that I talked about earlier where all of my films rest. I do a lot of really good films that I think that I am very proud of. And it's just my name again, January Katsugi. So on Vimeo.
I like that, man. I respect it. So then, well, cultivators, it's been great cutting up with January. Thanks for tuning in, and I'm going to catch you guys in the next one. Peace.